You know, the best grades I've ever seen a pirate get are high C's. Hey everybody! So today we're going to take a look at how to draw your own pirate flag or Jolly Roger. I find that this project can be a lot of fun because you get a lot of creative freedom with it. You can pick and choose the various elements you want to use, the different parts, and really customize it and make it match your personality and interests. So first things first, let's take a look at some of the supplies we're going to be needing to do this project. We're going to need something to draw on. I'm going to be using standard white printer paper, but you could also use lined paper, if that's what you've got. You could use construction paper. This works really well. You could also, just draw on your dry erase board if that's what you've got. That works great. You're going to need something to draw with, obviously. So we're going to be using a number 2 pencil. Unless, of course, you're using a dry erase board, then you're probably going to use a dry erase marker so you don't ruin it. Makes sense. We are going to need something to draw straight lines with. I'm going to be using a standard ruler, but if you don't have a ruler, that's okay. You could use anything with a straight edge. You could use another sheet of paper. You could use a bit of junk mail. Anything that has a straight edge will help you draw a straight line. We're also going to need something to color with. I would personally recommend using some crayons. You get a lot of coverage with these and they're not going to dry out on you like a marker will. That being said though, if markers is what you have, these still work great. Always a good standard. You can also use colored pencils. These work fantastically. So that's pretty much what we're going to need. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how to draw some of the various elements and parts commonly found in pirate flags. So during this part of the video, I'm going to be showing you examples of how to draw some of the more common elements shown in pirate flags. I'm going to be drawing each part separately so you can see how it's done. When you do your flag, your job is going to be to combine and arrange these parts into your pirate flag. So to start with, we're going to draw one of the most common elements found in most pirate flags, the skull. A lot of people are intimidated by drawing a skull because it's got a lot of parts, but if you really take a good look at most pirate flags, the skulls are drawn in a very simple style. It's almost cartoony. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to draw a very, very simple skull. Very easy to do. I'm going to be using a pencil so that I can erase if I need to. And we're just going to start with kind of an upside down U shape. This is going to be the top of our head. Kind of sketch that out there. Now you will notice that I'm drawing fairly lightly. And the reason for that is you want to draw lightly so that you can erase if you need to. If you draw really heavy like this and you really grind your pencil lead into the fibers of the paper, you're going to have a very hard time erasing it. See this? You're always going to have this like faint and ghost image if you do that. So draw lightly, that way you can erase. Good way to remember that is to draw it light until you get it right. So once we have this U shape, we're going to add the cheekbones on either side of the head. To do that, we're going to make a couple more U's. They're going to be sideways, which I guess makes a C if you think about it. So we're going to draw this kind of shallow C shape right there. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Make this one a little bit longer. And then once we have that, we're going to want to add a couple of straight lines to the top and bottom of each of those C shapes. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to go just straight up and straight up. That's going to make the temples on the skull. And then we're going to add another straight line here and here. And that's going to form the upper jaw. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of connect these two lines across the middle with a slightly curving line like that. That's going to be where our teeth go. And from here we can start adding in our lower jaw. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, again straight line, kind of from the middle of that cheekbone area, middle of the cheekbone right there, straight down. And we want to make kind of a nice pointy U shape. Almost a V, but not quite. Just like that. We can throw in these little holes right here. These are where your jaw connects to your skull. There's a gap there, so we can throw that in. And we can throw in some teeth. Easiest way to do teeth is just take a straight line, go straight down in the middle, and we're going to add 2 lines on that side, and 2 lines on that side. We're going to need a nose in the middle of this skull, and a nose is pretty easy to do because it's just an upside down V. So we're going to make a point, we're going to come down, start the point again, come down, and then we're going to put a smaller V inside of that. So we're going to start at the point, come down, start at the point, come down, like that. Once you have your nose in place, we're going to add the eye holes, places where your eyes go. There's a couple different ways you could do this. You could go with just a straight circle, and that'll look perfectly fine. If you look at an actual skull, though, the eyes are slightly squarish and they're slightly slanted. So what we're going to want to do is kind of come down with a short straight line, angle it along the nose so it's parallel like that, kind of just follows along like that, come back out, up again, and then angle in for that top. Notice that all of my corners are very rounded. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to go straight down, kind of running parallel to that nose line right there. Flatten it out, come around the corner and going back up, and then we're going to round it off at the top again. Kind of angle it back towards that top, just like that. And there you have a basic skull. So next we're going to work on drawing bones and crossbones. Bones and crossbones are just dead easy to draw. Get it? Dead easy? Yes. Never mind. What you're going to need here is a ruler, and we're going to lay it on the paper. Generally they're kind of angled when we do these. We take our pencil, we're just going to move it along the ruler just like that. Then we're going to come up a little bit, and we're going to do the same thing right here. Remembering once again to draw lightly, that way if we make a mistake we can erase. And then when you look at bones on pirate flags, they're going to have those joints on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this kind of curvy M shape right here and right here. It's almost like 2 circles that have gotten stuck together, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Going to make the curvy kind of M shape, although it's upside down, so I guess in this case it's a W. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And we have a bone. Now, to make a set of crossbones, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, except we're going to stop the middle of the bone when we hit the first bone. What that means is we're going to put a ruler on the paper, like this, and we're going to start drawing our line. So we're going to put our pencil on the paper, and we're going to go up, and we're going to stop when we hit that first bone. We're going to pick up our pencil, we'll come to the other side, and start the line again, just like that. Then we're going to raise our ruler up a little bit, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start drawing a line. We're going to stop when we hit the first bone, pick our pencil up, and continue the line on the other side. What that does is it makes it look like this bone is on top of this bone. Now we just got to finish it off, so we're going to do some more of those curvy M shapes, just like this. Do that on the other side. think this line went up a little high, so I'm going to erase that. Come in and do the same thing right here. And now you have bones and crossbones. So another common element you see in a lot of pirate flags are swords and spears. So let's take a look at a couple of different sword styles first. We're going to need our trusty straight edge again, and we're going to start with the handle, also known as the hilt. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on here, and we're going to draw a short straight line. Then we're going to come down a little bit, draw another short straight line. Now, one of the most common sword types that you see pirates using is the cutlass. It's a little short sword, and it has a D-shaped guard around the handle. So when we're drawing the cross guard, we're going to curve it around. We're going to make this kind of D or U shape that fits around our handle like this. Then we're going to put the other side of it on there, just like this. Right, and we have our cross guard right there. Most swords have what's called a pommel, which is a little doodad that kind of acts as a counterweight on the end of the hilt right there. Alright, so now we need the most important part of this thing. We need the blade. To do that, we're going to go back to using our ruler again. We're going to line it up, and we're going to put a straight line here, just like that. And we're going to come down a little lower, and we're going to do the same thing. Blades are typically a little bit wider than the handle, but not by much. So right there. And then we need the point on this thing. Most cutlasses have a kind of rounded point, so we're going to extend that just a little bit and curve it around just like that to make a point. A lot of these cutlasses also have what's called a fuller. It's a groove engraved down the length of the blade, and what that usually does is it makes the sword just a little bit lighter, so you're not swinging around this extremely heavy piece of metal and wearing your arms out. So I'm just going to put another short little line right there. Now, you don't have to do this style of sword. In fact, if you look at the flag of Calico Jack, he uses what looks more like kind of a scimitar, which is a very similar sort of blade and handle style, but the crossguard here goes a little bit differently. So let's take a look at that. When you're drawing his handles, we're going to start the same way. We're going to put a handle on there, just like that. And then his has the pommel attached directly to the handle like that. And if you look at it, he doesn't have this guard right here that protects your hand. His just kind of have these kind of curvy, sweepy S-shaped designs on them. Kind of look like this. Got a little point in the middle, like that, and they curve off to either direction. And then, once you have that in place, you would go back and you would do your blade, just like we did before. Put out your lines, and then, curve it off. Maybe add a fuller if you really want to. It's up to you. The other thing you see a lot in pirate flags are spears. Famously, Blackbeard had a spear, a skeleton holding a spear on his flag. It was kind of stabbing through like a bright red heart. So let's take a look at how to do that. Spears are super easy to do because it's mostly just a long straight line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our trusty straight edge, we'll put it on the paper, and we're going to go straight down, and we're going to take another line a little bit lower. We're going to go straight down. I'm going to cap off the end. I'm going to make a little curvy line at the end there. And we're going to do the same thing over here, short little curvy line. And that's the shaft of the spear. Then, to make the head of the spear, we're going to add 2 slightly angled lines. It kind of comes to a point a little bit right there. And we're going to flare back out. Another couple of short lines like that. And we're going to make the point of the spear just like this. If you want to, you could also add a line right here, just for some interest. It's up to you. And that's how you do swords and spears. So the last 2 common Jolly Roger elements that we're going to do are hearts and hourglasses. Hearts are very, very simple to do because they're just 2 curvy lines that meet in a point. So to draw a heart, we're going to put a pencil on the paper and we're going to curve our line around pretty tightly and kind of straighten it out as we get towards the bottom. So we're going to end up something like that. You want to try to stop your line pretty much directly under where you started. So we're going to start here, we're going to come around, and we're going to stop it kind of directly under where we started. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to create the mirror image. We're going to curve our line around and straighten it out and meet at that point. And you have a heart. Pretty easy. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw an hourglass. An hourglass is a timekeeping device. Man, I can't talk today. It's what we had before clocks. It's a glass-filled vial full of sand, and as the sand runs out, you know how time's getting away. So, to do that, we're going to break out our trusty straight edge again, and we're going to draw an angled straight line, kind of just on a diagonal, just like that. And then we're going to make an X. So we're going to take a ruler, we're going to go in the opposite direction. Just like this. We want our lines to be about the same length and stop in about the same place. This one goes up a little high, so I'm going to have to erase that. And those look pretty even. Then we're going to take our straight edge again, and we're going to cap it off. Kind of level it off right here. And right here, go out a little bit past the edges of your X. And we're going to turn these 2 top and bottom lines into rectangles. So I'm going to add another line at the very bottom and add another line at the very top, just like this. And the last thing we have to do, well, one of the last things we have to do, we got a couple more things, is we have to draw the support bars on either side. Because this middle part is made out of glass, usually there's a frame around it to help protect it and keep it from getting smashed. So we're going to take our ruler and we're going to draw a line straight down, another one straight down, cap off top of that and the bottom of that, a couple more curvy lines. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put a nice straight line there. Move it over a little bit. Put a nice straight line there. And we're going to cap off this side of the frame with a curvy line, and this side of the frame with a curvy line. And you have a basic hourglass. If you want to, what you could do is maybe draw some of your sand in there. So it's going to be piled up at the bottom of that part, and then as it falls through here, it's going to make a little pile in this part right here. So you can maybe even dot that a little bit, create the grains of sand. It's up to you, but it could look cool. And that's how you make a heart in an hourglass. Okay, so now that we've seeing how to draw the various bits and pieces of a Jolly Roger, it's time for you to combine those pieces into your very own pirate flag. Pick the parts that you like and arrange them in a way that looks good to you. Keep in mind that you aren't limited to just the stuff that I've drawn here. This flag is supposed to represent you, so you can draw other things that represent your hobbies and your interests. The trick is just to be creative with it. For example, here's the one that I made for me. As you can see, I kind of based it off your classic Calico Jack pirate flag. However, I swapped out the sword that he uses for a saber because I do fencing, and that's the type of sword I use. And I also swapped out the other sword for a paintbrush to represent art because, you know, obviously that's my job and I really enjoy it. The trick is to just have fun with it. Also, remember to post a picture of your work to our class art gallery because I am really excited to see what you guys come up with.